Besama werworld wo mefeskadus adawamla amen. Besama werworld wo mefeskadus adawamla amen. Besama werworld wo mefeskadus adawamla amen. Good morning, blessed love, this Monday. I hope you had a blessed weekend. So just getting straight in with the readings, it's quite long. Exodus 29. Give thanks. This is the thing that you shall do to make them holy, to minister to me in the priest's office. Take 1 bull and 2 rams without defect, unleavened bread, unleavened cakes mixed with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil. You shall make them of fine wheat flour. You shall put them into 1 basket and bring them in the basket with the bull and the 2 rams. You shall bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tent of the meeting, and shall wash them with water. You shall take the garments and put on Aaron the tunic and the robe of the ephod and the breastplate, and clothe him with the skillful woven band of the ephod. You shall take the turban on its head and put the holy crown on the turban. Then you shall take the anointing oil and put it on his head and anoint him. You shall bring his sons and put tunics on them. You shall clothe them with bells, Aaron and his sons, and bind headbands on them. You shall have the priesthood by a perpetual state. You shall consecrate Aaron and his sons. You shall bring the bull before the tent of meeting, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the bull. You shall kill the bull before Yahweh at the door of the tent of the meeting. You shall take of the blood of the bull and put it on the horns of the altar with your finger. You shall pour out all the blood at the base of the altar. You shall take all the fat that covers the innards and cover of the liver and 2 kidneys, and the fat that is on them, and burn them on the altar. But the meat of the bull and its skin and its dung you shall burn with fire outside the camp. It is a sin offering. You shall also take 1 ram, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the ram. You shall kill the ram, and you shall take its blood and sprinkle it around the altar. You shall cut the ram into pieces, and wash its innards and its legs, and put them with its pieces, and with its head. You shall burn the whole ram on the altar. It is a burnt offering to Yahweh. It is a pleasant aroma, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. You shall take the other ram, and Aaron and his sons shall lay their hands on the head of the ram. Then you shall kill the ram, and take some of its blood, and put it on the tip of the right ear of Aaron, and on the tip of the right ear of the sons, and on the thumb of their right hand, and on their big toe, and on their right foot, and sprinkle the blood around the altar. You shall take off the blood that is on the altar, and of the anointing oil, and sprinkle it on Aaron, and on his garments, and on his sons, and on the garments of his sons with him, and he shall be made holy, and his garments, and his sons, and the sons' garments with him. Also you shall take some of the ram's fat, the fat tail, the fat that covers the innards, the cover of the liver, the 2 kidneys, the fat that is on them, on the right thigh, for it is the ram of consecration, and 1 loaf of bread, 1 cake of oiled bread, and 1 wafer out of the basket of unleavened bread that is before Yahweh. You shall put all of this on Aaron's hands and on his sons' hands, and you shall wave them for a wave offering before Yahweh. You shall take them from their hands and burn them on the altar of the burnt offering for a pleasant aroma before Yahweh. It is an offering made by fire to Yahweh. You shall take the breast of Aaron's ram of consecration and wave it for a wave offering before Yahweh. It shall be your portion. You shall sanctify the breast of the wave offering and the thigh of the wave offering which is waved and which is raised up on the ram of consecration, even of that which is for Aaron, and for that which is for his sons. It shall be for Aaron and his sons and their portion forever, and the children of Israel, for it is a wave offering. It shall be a wave offering from the children of Israel of the sacrifice of their peace offerings, even their wave offering to Yahweh. The holy garments of Aaron shall be for his sons after him, to be anointed in him, to be consecrated in them. 7 days the sons who is priest in his place put them. And when he comes into the tent of meeting to minister to the holy place, you shall take a ram of consecration and boil its meat in a holy place. Aaron and his sons shall eat the meal of the ram and the bread that is in the basket at the door of the tent. They shall eat those things with which atonement was made to consecrate and sanctify them, but a stranger shall not eat it, because they are holy. If anything of the meat of the consecration or the bread remains to the morning, then you shall burn the remainder with fire. It shall not be eaten, because it is holy. You shall do so to Aaron and to his sons, according to all that I have commanded you. You shall consecrate them 7 days. Every day you shall offer the bull of sin offering for atonement. You shall cleanse the altar when you make atonement for it. You shall anoint it and sanctify it. 7 days you shall make atonement from the altar and sanctify it, and the altar shall be most holy. Whatever touches the altar shall be holy. Now this is that which you shall offer on the altar: 2 lambs a year, old day by day continually. The one lamb you shall offer in the morning, and the other lamb you shall offer at the evening. And with one lamb 1/10 part of the epeth of fine flour, mixed with 1/4 part with a hin of beaten oil, and the 1/4 part of a hin of wine for a drink offering. The other lamb you shall offer at evening, and shall do it according to the meal offering of the morning, and according to the drink offering, for a pleasant aroma, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. It shall be a continual burnt offering throughout your generations at the door of the tent of the meeting before Yahweh, where I meet with you, to speak there to you. There I will meet with the children of Israel, and the place shall be sanctified by glory. I will sanctify the tent of the meeting and the altar, and I will sanctify Aaron and his sons to minister to me in the priest's office. I will dwell among the children of Israel and with their God, and they shall know that I am Yahweh their God, who brought them out of the land of Egypt, that I dwell amongst them. I am Yahweh their God. For these few words I give thanks. Blessed Lord. Yeah, interesting. A lot of detail again. This time it's not detail in design. Well, to a certain extent it's design. It's design of behavior. It's designing and ceremony for the priests. So the first priests ordained were Aaron and his sons. And as you hear, in the previous chapter, we saw or heard how the robes of the priests were to be made. And this chapter is talking about the ordination of the priests. And particularly, there's a lot of animal sacrifice in this chapter. There's also holy oil and the sprinkling of the blood and the oil on different places on the body and on the garments. And a whole ceremony for the seriousness of the role of the priests. And you could say that this is a symbolic separation of the priests from the people, because to live as a priest, that's a very responsible position, a position that people look up to, a position that shouldn't be exploited for your own gain. So going through the ceremony of wearing certain clothes that are for the glory of God will be made in a very particular way, and then the ceremony of becoming ordained as a priest with the oil and the blood sacrifices. These things aren't going to be done to everybody and anybody. There's only a very few people that go through this process. I'm not a priest, so I couldn't tell you the full process of what it means to be a priest. I do know within the Orthodox Church there's a very, long level of teaching and, ceremony and, life-changing process you go through to become a priest, because again, they don't take it lightly. So yeah, this separation of God and the separation from the people to serve God, and to know that what you're doing is a very special step called ordination is incredibly important, because we can all know from the news when we've heard stories, even today in the news, sadly, story today of priests abusing their position, not in the Ethiopian Orthodox, but in a different church. But these things have happened, and it's really sad that a priest betrays the people in that way, because they've got a very special role and they should be living by example. So when you do hear of priests not living up to that example, it's a really serious thing. That betrayal is in so many directions and can't be taken lightly. So this ceremony of clothes, of sacrifice, of anointing, etc., is really deep, and it's really showing the priest, what you're doing is special, and do not take it lightly. So when you hear of priests then breaking the vows and acting in a way which is exploiting the people, there's few. Well, yeah, it's just wicked. It's just awful, really. So I do understand this ceremony and this level of detail in ordination of priests, and this, yeah, it's not something that you just do with yourself and to yourself. There'll be a whole council of people involved in who becomes a priest and overseeing that. So it's sad when that trust is broken, but we just hope that new priests that come on in any church are doing that in a truthful and way, with the glory of God in their heart and in their mind and in their soul. Animal sacrifice, that's not something we see or hear about a lot today. I do know, like within a colleague at work, Muslim, and she was going off to have a baby, and she said that when the baby's born there will be an animal sacrifice. And we don't hear, and that was news to me. I didn't know those sort of things still happened, and I don't know what happens within Ethiopian Orthodox in terms of animal sacrifice. Again, it's not something you hear about very readily, particularly in the West and England and things like that. It might be different living in Ethiopia. But blood sacrifice is definitely something that didn't really continue on a big scale, because when Jesus came, it was a different level of sacrifice, became more symbolic, Holy Communion, etc., etc. But yeah, a lot of symbolism in here, lots more to unpick. Some of you may know more than me, so feel free to leave comment. But I'll end it here. Give thanks for this blessed day. Lots to think about. Have a good day, and God willing, more tomorrow. Blessed love.